is because this is pretty much the only OSAP program that I could find that didn't state that you had to be a Canadian citizen or permanent resident to apply for. And so if you're an international student coming to Canada to do a master's or a PhD in research, then technically you can apply for this. Hi, my name is Sabak, and welcome back to Ontario Without Barriers, a channel where we discuss different resources for people with disabilities. But in today's video, we're actually going to talk about a resource for students in Ontario who are studying graduate school in different universities in Ontario. The Ontario Graduate Scholarship Program. Now, this is a program that is funded through OSAP, which is the Ontario Student Assistance Program, and therefore the scholarship is funded through the province of Ontario. In the overview, it states, students in graduate studies at the master and doctorate level can apply for a merit-based scholarship through the Ontario Graduate Scholarship Program. Awards are available to graduate students for all disciplines of academic study in participating schools in Ontario. Each award is jointly funded by the province of Ontario, 2/3, and the school offering the award, 1/3. This program is meant for those attending a publicly funded university in Ontario. It's only universities from the list of approved schools. Unfortunately, there is no college programs. It doesn't say, however, if you have to do your master's and your doctorate at the same school. So you might be able to switch if you do the master's in one program and your PhD in another school. The amount that you can get is based on the number of terms of your consecutive studies within an academic year. $10,000 for 2 consecutive study terms, $15,000 for 3 consecutive study terms. Each award is issued for a minimum of 1 academic year, a maximum of 2 academic years. The award's maximum are master's students, 2 academic years, doctoral students, 4 academic years. So a lifetime limit for all students of 6 academic years. So obviously, $10,000, $15,000 per year is a lot of money. But also, I feel like you need to take into account that there was a very short parameters given to this program. So if you're doing a 2-year research in your master's, then you have to make sure you finish within those 2 years. If anything comes up in terms of your study or even your personal life, like if there's, for whatever medical reasons that you have to delay finishing your master's, they give you only a certain type of maximum, and you have to stick with that maximum for both the master's and PhD because there is a lifetime limit, and it seems like they're not going to budge on that. The eligibility criteria states your application is assessed and ranked using criteria determined by the school you're applying to attend. To be considered, you must also meet the following criteria in graduate studies in a master or doctoral level. Enroll in a full-time program for 2 or more terms, 21 to 52 weeks in total for the academic year you're submitting your application. Now, on the government website, it does list all the universities that supports this scholarship, and it's pretty much all of the publicly funded universities in Ontario. So if you're going to a private university, chances are this program won't apply, and if you're going to any college, this program won't apply. It's primarily a publicly funded university thing, and the reason I wanted to include this program in the video and discuss it in detail is because this is pretty much the only OSAP program that I could find that didn't state that you had to be a Canadian citizen or permanent resident to apply for. And so if you're an international student coming to Canada to do a master's or a PhD in research, then technically you can apply for this program. And I've known through other people who have applied who are international students, and it's really one of the handful of funding out there for people who are not Canadian citizens. To apply, use your school's application. They're normally available in October. If you're applying to more than one graduate program at different schools, submit an application for each school. Contact the Graduate Studies Office at the school you're planning to attend for details on their application process. In terms of deadlines, application documents and review details for this scholarship vary by school. Check with your school's Graduate Studies Office for details. Again, the program does not stipulate that you have to do both your master's and your PhD at the same school, so you can move schools depending on obviously your experience or other factors of why you want to switch schools. Is not dependent on you staying at the same school for the entirety of your graduate studies. Now, again, because you can also apply for this program in multiple schools that you are doing your application for, it's good to research ahead of time which school that you really do want to commit 2 years at a time, and especially which school you want to commit 4 years of your time. I know a lot of people who do graduate studies will also be TAs, and so figure out which schools pay more money for TAs, and then decide to apply for those for your graduate program, and then therefore decide which one you want to apply for the scholarship. Since on the website it mentions that it's the universities that go through your application, it is very important before you decide which school you want to do your graduate program to talk with them and do a lot of research about what type of qualifications they're looking for when they approve applicants for this program, and what they have looked for in the past and what they're sort of looking for in the future. And one thing I want to make very clear is that if you're doing a research studies program in your graduate studies, this program is not guaranteed to you. It is not something that's guaranteed to all applicants. It is not something that's guaranteed to all graduate studies students. It is something that you have to apply for and that you have to be accepted. And again, it's based on merit. It's not something that's just based on solely academics. It's based on probably a lot of different factors depending on which school you go to. And that's the end of my video. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any thoughts or opinion, please put down in the comment section. I would especially love to hear from anybody who had experience going through the application process. If you were approved, if you were denied, let me know all of the different steps and the different advice that you would give for other students who want to apply for the scholarship. And as always, please like, share, subscribe, and turn on the notification so that you get alerts for more videos. And I'll see you next week. Bye. For more information, visit ontariowithoutbarriers.ca. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please like, share, comment, and subscribe, and turn on notifications. Tune in next week where we will discuss other resources for adults with physical disabilities.